Hi everyone. We will be discussing about building the connections in analytics, and there are different ways to build the connections. Like we can have Salesforce input and output connections. We can have connections through external systems. We can have live connections, and then we'll discuss a bit about the use of integration user. So let's go to our org. I'm in my analytics studio right now. I'll open data manager because connections information or connections tab is available in data manager only. So as you can see, we have connections option over here. Now this middle section where this SFDC local is there right now, this is where you will see your all the connections. Right now it's just one connection which comes out of the box, and this is the connection with the Salesforce objects. So if you'll click on this drop down present over here, you will see couple of options um, to schedule this connection, to run it now, to get the notifications, and to edit the objects. So when we talk about building a connection, it's like we are building a one-on-one link with Salesforce right now to fetch the data um, which is present in different objects and the fields which are associated with those objects. So in the right hand side, this column which you can see over here, so as part of this connection we have these many objects which we have connected, and the columns which we can see over here is the number of fields which we have selected which needs to be synced with analytics. So so the connection which we have here, or you can say the objects which we have selected over here, this object information is getting fetched from the Salesforce database to analytics. And when you will run the sync, then only you will get that latest information from your Salesforce internal Salesforce database to analytics. Unless you run the sync, we will see like what all sync options are there, but until unless you run the sync, that information won't be reflected over here. So let's say we have this task object present. We'll click on the task object. You will see the columns. Now these are the fields which I have selected. So that's why the information will be fetched from the Salesforce database to the analytics. Just these field information will be fetched and nothing else will be fetched. In the data preview, you would see the rows which are available. So you can see like all the columns which we selected, those column information is there, and the number of rows which um, got fetched, all of them are getting displayed over here. Then we can have filter as well. We can have filter on what type of records we need to fetch. Like if we don't want to fetch everything which is present in the fields, we need some filter on the columns which we selected, then we can have it in data sync filter. Let's close this. This is about the object and the fields. Now these are all the objects which are present as part of this SFDC local connection. We can add more objects by clicking on edit objects. So let's say I want to connect opportunity. So let's type in opportunity, and then you can see that opportunity is already present and the status is connected. Let's see if the contact is present. So here the contact is not present, right? So I'm clicking on contact, and I can select the field which I want to be connected for analytics, and then I'll click on save. So once this is done, so that means our object and the field which I have selected, that's connected. But by default, the connection type which gets set over here is incremental sync. Now there are three different types of sync options which you will get once you will click on the drop down arrow over here, and then on click on edit connection mode. So this is the by default connection mode which you can set for your objects present in the connection. So first option is to have incremental sync, second option is to have periodic full sync, third option is to have full sync. Now incremental sync is the option where it will sync all the records post the changes which happened after previous sync. So let's say I synced my data yesterday, and I have selected incremental sync. So when it will run today on the basis of the schedule, then it will just pick those records where the changes happened. So this is a good way to save time. Otherwise, in case of full sync, it completely overrides the database which is present in our Salesforce 2 analytics. So it takes time, but it is beneficial if in case we have some hard delete functionality happening on Salesforce side, because in that case we don't want those records to be present in analytics. So that's why in that couple of scenarios we need full sync, where maybe the hard syncs are there, hard deletes are there, or formula fields are there. Then in those cases only we need full sync. Otherwise, it is recommended to have incremental sync. Now there is one more option in between incremental and full sync, that is periodic full sync. Now this means on periodic basis the sync will happen incrementally, but sometime wherever you will define that time, at that point of time the run will be full sync. So it's a combination of incremental and full sync. So these are the options which are available to have syncs for the object. Now these are the object level syncs. As you can see over here, for user I have selected full sync. Now I'll click on this. As I have full sync enabled over here, I think this is by default coming as full sync. Let's see user role. This is again full sync. Let's see for contact. Let me change it to full sync and then I'll save it. So you can see that for contact I have full sync. Now if I want to edit the mode from full sync to incremental sync, then I can select that instead of full sync. So that can be changed over here. Now if I want to run data sync right now, so then I can click on run data sync, and then it will run based on the type of sync which I have selected. So we selected full sync for contact, so it will run full sync. So we can check that by going to jobs monitor. As you can see, the data sync is in progress, and the origin is contact and SFDC local is the connection name. So we'll come back here later once this is done. But yeah, coming back to the connections tab, yeah, see here. So this is successful and the type of run was full sync. Now this is where either you can sync data then and there, or you can select the mode of sync. Then you can disconnect the object if you don't want it. The, after disconnecting it, it's gonna be um, not present in this edit objects list, because this is what the main, you can say, the parent connection is there, and these are all the part of that disconnection. So let's try to disconnect this object. So let's click on disconnect. When we'll go to edit objects over here, now you will not see this object is connected which we selected earlier. See here, so this is no more connected. So this is what you can do with these objects present. Now what if I want to handle these connections automatically by scheduling them? So that can be done using your connection record. If you click on this downward arrow, you will have different options. Edit objects we already saw, and run now, this is going to run sync for all the objects which are present under this connection. So this on the right hand side, these are all the objects which are present under this connection. If I'll click on run now, it will run sync with the respective connection mode for all the objects. And the other option is to schedule this sync. So what we can do is, if you want to schedule this maybe once a week, so in that case we can select week, we can select time, and then we can select the day when we want to run this. If you want to run it on weekdays, so then also we can do that. So this will create a schedule to sync all the data, and on the basis of the connection mode which is mentioned over here. So next job, see here, the date and the time is mentioned. Now this is one connection which comes out of the box when we enable analytics. Now there are other options to have connections, which can be done by clicking on this new connection button. We can have one more or as many Salesforce connectors as we want. One is already there. If you don't want to use that, you can have this as well. Now the one use case where I analyze that this is required is when you want to schedule your syncs at different times for different objects. So let's say I have opportunity, I have contact, but I want to sync them maybe at different times. One I want to sync at 12 o'clock and another one I want to sync at 4 o'clock. Then in that case I can add those two objects in different connections so that I can schedule those two connections separately. So that's where building a new Salesforce connector would be beneficial. Otherwise, we have this SFDC local connection already that can be utilized if you want to sync all your objects at same time. So um, that's about the Salesforce connector. Then we have lot of other connectors, like you can see the number is 35 over here. So if you'll see the input, we have 33 connectors available, which would be helpful to get the data from either Amazon, or we have Heroku, Microsoft, Google BigQuery, and Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Salesforce external connectors, Redshift connector. You just name it, and almost all connectors are present there here. So that's beneficial because we would get the data from our third third party applications, and then those data we can easily utilize as data sets in analytics. So when we connect these systems with Salesforce, it creates a data set. So the way we have objects over here, it basically created data set behind all these objects, and then those data sets can be used to maybe transform, to have it in the lens, to create dashboards out of lens. So whatever we want to do, that can be done easily. So in short, we have to understand is these connections build data sets. Now, there is one more option to have live connection, where we have two connectors available. One is Google BigQuery Direct Connector, another one is Snowflake Direct Connector. So, the purpose of having these connectors is, once you will give this information, you'll get all these information, authentication information. If in case you are selecting password as the authentication type, then username and password is required. If you are selecting any other authentication type, then these two are not required. You will need name, credential, because you'll be hitting the other application to get the data. So once we build this connection, so in that case, this is a very um, good use case, where the changes which are the changes which is happening in your other application, or here a Snowflake application, that's that's going to be reflected at the same time in your dashboards also, because once we have this connection, it will create a data set, and that data set we will be using in our dashboards, and then the changes would be reflected near real time. So that's that's gonna be useful if you want to connect with Snowflake or Google a BigQuery direct connector. Okay, now what else? Okay, one more thing is, as of now you can see there is no output connection. So there we do have a way to build output connection from analytics to Salesforce, or analytics to Amazon S3. So that option would be visible when we'll enable it. So we'll go to setup, and then from setup we will open analytics settings. In these settings we have couple of options to enable that. So I'll go to analytics settings. This is the setting, and we will search for output, because there are a couple of options with output connections available. So let's search for output. So as you can see, we have option to enable Amazon S3 output connection, enable Snowflake output connection, enable Salesforce output connection. So I'll be showing this to you right now. And there are options to have enable Tableau online output connection, and enable data lake gen 2 output connection. So whichever output connection you want. By output connection, what I mean is, you can write back to these systems. So let's see how we can do that. Okay, so as of now we saw that we were not able to see output here. Now I'll refresh this, and now we will see one more tab to have output connection with Salesforce, because that's what we enabled in the setting. So I'm clicking on new connection. You can see that output is there, and we can have Salesforce output connector. I'll click on next, and then I'll have to give this information. I'll have to provide my username, password, what's my developer name, and then we will get the output connection. Okay, so I have added all the details which are required to build this output connection, and let's save and test it. So as of now it is giving one error. Okay, so the error is because we need security token as well, which needs to be appended with a password. So I have added the token, and now the output connection is created and tested successfully. So now you'll see that we have a new tab over here, which is the output connection. Here we can edit the connection, we can delete the connection the way we want. So we will be building as part of coming videos, like how to write it back using our dashboards. But yeah, this is the process to create output connection. Then one more thing which I wanted to cover is about the visibility of the objects and the fields which you can see over here. Now in the previous video we saw that this analytics or comes with the integration user profile and one user. So let's see like what are the permissions which that user has, because um, integration user is integration profile user is being used when data sets run. So basically in short, the data sets run in the context of integration user. So whatever objects and fields which are accessible to integration user profile, that's um, that is the one which the data sets would be able to access. Whatsoever you can see over here in the edit objects, these are those objects which integration user profile is able to access, and the fields which integration user is able to see. So let's see integration user profile quickly. Let's go to profile, and we have analytics integration user profile. This is the profile. I'll go to the profile, and as we'll see that this profile has view all data permission by default. So view all data permission, see this. So that means this user would be able to see everything which is present in the org. So that is good on the basis of the object level security and the field level security. Now the another thing which is good about this profile is whenever you will create a new custom object, that custom object will get view all permission by default, and all the standard objects which are present in the org, they also have read and view all permission. So that's sorted, because recently I created one new object which is case reviews, and it got added automatically. I have not explicitly provided any permission to this profile, but as you can see, since it has view all data permission, so for every object it just adds read and view all permission. But if in case you are creating fields, custom fields on the objects, then in that case explicitly you will have to give access to this profile, because I'll show you. I created this object and I created one field under this object. So let's go to case review, and in under fields and relationships I've created description field, but I'll show you the field level security, as I've not provided any FLS for this field as well as object. So there is no permission, see, no permission, but by default that object got added with view all permission with read access automatically. So that's why when I'll go to this connection and I'll search for case review, here you will see I can see the object because by default it is present, but when I'll choose this you will not see the field. So I'll have to explicitly go and add this permission, visible permission, to analytics cloud integration user profile, and then we will refresh the page, and then we will see now we should be able to see the field over here. So this connection data sync, that's completely dependent on the analytics integration user profile access. So let's go to edit object, let's see case review again, and now okay, it is not present. Let me refresh it again. Okay, let's go to field level security. So I give access to both analytics integration user profile as well as system admin, and now we will refresh this and we will see if the field is visible. So let's go to edit objects again, We'll search for case reviews, and let's see. So yeah, we got the access. So in order to see fields over here, we need to give access to system admin as well as analytics integration user profile, both of them. And as an end user, when user would be running it and watching the dashboards and analyzing the lenses and all, so at that point of time they, as they need read access to the data, so at that point of time we just need analytics cloud integration user profile access. But as of now, we are, since we are configuring the connections, we also need access, our user also need access to the, to the field. So that's why we will have to give access to both system admin as well as integration user profile. But once that is done, once the setup is done, then when the end user would be accessing the dashboards, then in that case this integration user profile, or you can say that the data sets would be running in the context of integration user. So that way we need read access over there. Now as of now, you saw that I modified integration user profile, this profile, to give directly I gave access to this. But the good practice is to not disturb this, because this comes out of the box when we enable analytics. So either you can clone this and then you can assign that cloned profile to integration user, or you can create a permission set and then start giving read access to whatsoever fields you are creating. So that's the good practice. Okay, so I think I have covered everything about connections. So yeah, uh, that's it. Let's see data sets in the next session. Thank you.